Welcome to The Walk-In, a podcast where doors stay open and stories unfold one conversation at a time. Hosted by Christopher Michael Sean, author, poet, actor, and lifelong student of people and purpose. Here, you're more than just a listener. You're part of the room, part of the story. In every episode, someone sits down, breathes deep, and shares what drives them, what keeps them moving, and what keeps them dreaming. This is a space for dreamers, doers, and those still finding their way. So pull up a chair, pour something warm, and let's take a walk into the soul.
My name is Michael. I am we'll say, founder, owner, operator, the whole damn team at Paragon Provisions. We are making basically D&D 5e resources. Our main goal is to lower the barrier of entry for tabletop role-playing games, specifically D&D 5e, because that's the thing I'm most familiar with. And more specifically, we are the creators and designers of a product called Creature Cube Minis, which is essentially a way of solving for the placeholder miniature problem, as we call it. If you've ever played D&D, you've probably run into a situation where somebody does something unexpected at the table, because that's quite literally what D&D is you're playing an improv game and, all in your imagination in the theater of mind a lot of time. Somebody's going to summon an animal, somebody's going to make something bigger, and it's just simply impossible for everyone to have every mini every time. It's not a video game. We're a little bit restricted by the actual physical resources we have in front of us. So we developed a thing called Creature Cube Minis, where it's basically 6 different faces on each side of a 6-sided die, or a d6, and it represents every type of creature that you could run into on your adventures. So it just makes it so you never have to think. You don't need to stop storytelling to go find a Lego or a piece of lint or something and put it on your battle map, which can be distracting. It also makes it really easy too for those of us who are traveling dungeon masters to not feel like we need to bring an entire collection of miniatures with us. We could just bring a couple of these and you're ready to run every encounter every single time. It's been great. Honestly, I've been playtesting them myself, and now they're just a part of my standard DM kit. I don't think I've played a D&D game without utilizing them in the past year since we've started playtesting and getting samples with it. So yeah, it's been good. It's been fun.
That's awesome. So how long have you been playing D&D for?
I was recently thinking about this because I got reintroduced to what was it, Start Playing Games. So like a website where you can solicit for dungeon masters, or dungeon masters can solicit for players. You basically can play professional D&D games. So I was filling this out literally today, when I was like, oh, that's right, I meant to sign up for this a long time ago. I think at this point it's been just under 10 years, which is crazy to think about, because it doesn't feel like I've been playing for that long. Feels like I've been playing for closer to 5, but I don't know. The pandemic has truly made everything time soup. So we'll say somewhere between 5 to 10 years. I've been playing D&D specifically for 5 to 10 years, and as the unintentional forever DM. I was not. It was supposed to be a one-time thing, and then now it's just all the time. I don't remember the last time I was a player at a table.
Funny enough, my first D&D session, official D&D session that lasted more than 5 minutes, I was the DM, and I'd never played before, and I was like,
Yep.
okay, sure, I'll give it a shot. And it was we developed a world called, well, I did, called Kyokai, which was like a feudal Japan, bunch of islands, and it's like
Yeah.
king, a bunch of runes, and the players really loved it. And right now we're in the second campaign, which is a spin-off of the first one. But there were 2 in between campaigns, like a 1.1, 1.2, where 2 of the
Mm-hmm.
players decided they wanted to split dimensions and do their own thing, but in the realm of Kyokai. Like, hey, Chris, we liked your idea, but we got our own idea. So in the second campaign, I was like, you know what? Fuck all of you guys for breaking up my campaign. So now they have to fix the dimensional rift that they caused by splitting up my
Yes.
original campaign. Oh, you wanted a
Yes.
steampunk universe with no magic and you wanted to use my campaign draw out? Oh, you wanted a fucking primal world before the dawn of man sort of vibe, like Stone Age? Cool. Awesome. Now both of those are merged and you guys
Yep.
have to solve it or everything just blows up.
Yeah, it's a
So
perfect example of we're failing forward, or
you're
like
failing
the
forward.
failures or the potential tragedies that happen at a game. It's not You're not
Mhm.
losing D&D, you're just making the story more interesting.
Oh
Was
yeah.
that that they started a completely separate campaign, or they did a bunch of stuff in this game that now has like fractured your universe and you're all playing in the same campaign?
They did their own campaigns. So what they
Oh,
did is so
wow.
at
Okay.
the yeah, at the end of our first campaign, after the end of the Kyokai campaign, the heroes are sailing off on the Dodo, which is like their ship, and
Mhm.
they're sailing off into the sea away from the land of Kyokai, and that's where I ended it. And then,
Mhm.
like my friend Gunnar, he was one of the players. He decided to do his own campaign that started with him on the ship sailing away from Kyokai, and
Okay.
then boom, dimensional portal appears. They go through it, and then they crash into a steampunk universe. There's no magic, none of that. And there's no gods,
Interesting.
all that. And then like so we played through a bit of his campaign and we didn't finish it, which kind of sucked. But we played a bit through his
Yeah.
campaign and then
That was my
another one
follow-up question. So you are a player in the spin-off campaign, right?
I
Because
was.
that Okay, good. Because I was like, if they started a whole other campaign without the original DM, like first of all, like like super flattering, right? That they would spin off and do like, yes, we love that. Let's see what happens if we do this. But it's a whole other thing to be like, but we don't want you to play in this
But we don't
other
want
one.
you to
Like,
be in
whoa, yeah, like hold on, wait a second. Like
it. You
that's
were
yeah.
never invited to our table. This is our
Yeah.
table now. It might have your
Yeah, yeah.
handwriting on it, but it's not yours anymore.
That would be
No, I wasn't
crazy. Okay,
character. I was,
cool.
yeah, I was Nigel Nickelbottom, which is this crazy character that was in campaign one. He was this jester, bard guy who would just show up and throw the queen's bathwater at monsters mid fight for like either he's fucking with the party or he's fucking with monsters for the party.
Mm,
He was like a neutral evil, like Deadpool sort of vibe. Like he was on no one's team, but also
right.
everybody's team, and he
Yeah, yeah,
believed he
yeah,
was the
yeah.
god
Free
of
agent.
mischief. Yeah, it was great. So
That's a
he was the
perfect one for the XDM to take on and move
yeah,
into. Yeah, yeah. That's great.
because in Gunner's campaign when they're all on the crashed ship and everybody's waking up and they just hear, "Hello everybody, has anybody seen my bathwater? I appear to have lost it." And they're like, "Oh my
The
fucking
immediate like,
Nigel,
oh
how the fuck?
no.
How
Yeah.
did you
Why
stow
are you
away?"
here?
So, and then the second campaign was so that one kind of fell off, which was unfortunate. And then one of our other campaigns, Vorel, she was one of our players from campaign one, and she was in Gunner's campaign as well.
Hmm.
She wanted to do her own spinoff. So we ended up all going into that one, and it was like the same thing. We were sailing away from
Hmm.
Kyokai, the end of campaign one, and then a portal dimensional shift. We're suddenly falling into a rainforest, and the ship crashes, so we no longer have the dodo
Wait,
again.
same
And then we
start?
yeah, like that's the
So
game start.
so it's like, so wait, are we on different timelines now in like a
Yeah,
parallel universe? Oh,
yeah.
that's so fun.
So they both of them had done the same thing. They had taken the original campaign ending to be the beginning of their own campaign where they
Yeah.
split off into a dimensional portal. So in my campaign, when I was finally the DM again, which took a year, by the way, it took a
Yep.
year for me to write
Oh,
up a whole
only a year?
only a year. Well, I'm new to this, so I don't know. I didn't know if that was long. That's not a long time to write up a campaign. I don't know.
I think it varies, but honestly, like, oh, well, you're talking about just writing it. I thought you were talking about playing
No,
the thing, because
just to write it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty in depth. I feel like that might be kind of on par. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whoever's listening to this, get in the comments. Let us know how long it took you to write your. What it probably
Yeah.
was is people sit on it for a year and they're constantly picking at it until they finally get the people in the scheduling to sit down
Mhm.
and play a year later, and then maybe that's what it is, accounting for slack time and all the in between time too.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing with the second campaign is we wanted to follow as many rules as possible because with the first campaign
Mm.
I was a learning DM. The second campaign I know
Oh,
more
for
of the
sure.
rules. I'd binge watched 100 episodes of Critical Role, so I got an
Yep,
idea
as you
as
do.
like yeah, as you do. And so, but there was one thing that I wanted to do which was unique and definitely not 5e rules. So
Hmm.
me and my friend Chris, I'm Chris, he's Chris. Long story. He has a character named Jakar. My character's Nigel, and both Nigel and Jakar existed in all three realms. Everybody else wanted to do their new
Mm.
characters, new stuff, whatever, right? But
Sure.
Jakar and Nigel existed in these other universes, in these parallel dimensions. So we wanted to create a campaign where both dimensions had combined, and there were
Mm.
subtle little shifts. So in the first few episodes, um, they interact with this little boy who comes to them and he's like, "Oh, my favorite color is blue. My and this is this." He's like, nobody knows why this kid's coming up to them and saying this, but
Mm.
and then later on in like another episode, another campaign episode, he's like, "Oh, my favorite color is red." Just like those subtle shifts, and then they pay attention to the clock
Okay.
tower and they notice that one episode the clock tower is ticking one way, and the other another day it's ticking the opposite direction. And me and Chris did something unique, and we gave a bullshit excuse to the campaign party, but it's all part of the plan. We were
Hmm.
both going to DM, which is absolutely not allowed in 5e. We were both going to DM. Basically, I'm DMing one dimension, he's DMing the other dimension. So when I'm DMing,
Mm.
it's the whimsical, funny, colorful, magical dimension. And whenever he's DMing, it's the dark, like steampunk, very, no magic, no nothing sort of universe.
Yeah.
And
Oh, interesting. So like they're unintentionally like plane shifting
mhm,
throughout sessions,
yep,
sort of thing.
yep. And
That sounds
so
that sounds fun.
what they just discovered this episode is that they just now got told by a dragon, of course, a bronze dragon in the Feywild,
Right.
because
Got to
who
be a
else would
dragon.
know? Hey, dumbasses, you broke the world. Go fucking fix it. And
Yep.
because it kind of took them too long to realize. Like we had a timetable. Every episode we were gonna have small escalations, and it was gonna slowly go more and more and more and more intense until the world
Mm.
just crumbles. So now they're being told you have 30 days, which is a significant amount of time, 30 days before there is no way to repair this. Um,
Mm.
so now that they're actually trying to investigate it, they went to the clock tower. Finally, you don't know how many episodes we were trying to hint to them, go to the fucking clock tower. I even
Oh,
had
I
my
have an
character.
idea.
Oh, go ahead, throw it at
No,
me.
no, no. I mean, just like I have an idea of the pain. Or I
Oh,
can relate to your pain of like,
I'm
would you
sure. Yeah.
please? What can you
Would you
please?
kindly? Could you
Yeah,
kindly fucking go to the clock tower, you dumb
yeah.
bastard? Do you see the giant fucking thing that goes clockwise one day and
The
the
thing I
fucking
mention
counterclockwise the other
every
day?
session that you see looming over you,
Yeah,
where
the
you
fucking
see all
Aether
the
clock
energy
tower.
coalescing to. 5 different
Yeah,
NPCs have mentioned it. Yep. Yep.
yeah, that place.
Sometimes
Um,
you just gotta hit them with literally a scroll that's like, "You gotta go. You
you
go
gotta go.
here." Directly, NPC says, "Listen, I know the thing. Have the info. Go to the fucking thing. You have to go,
Oh
and
no.
here's why, and here's why, and here's how long you have." Which it sounds like you might have just
Oh
did
no,
with them.
yeah, no, absolutely. They wake up in the tavern. They're all enjoying breakfast. They're hanging out. NPC barges in through the tavern door, and he's
Mm,
just like, "Hey guys, the fucking clock tower over there." And he gets fucking shot in the
yeah,
head. Great time. So yeah, they were like, "Oh, maybe we should go to the clock tower." And
maybe we should go.
internally, I'm
Yeah,
thinking, "Oh yeah, maybe you should." 13 episodes ago, but it's
yep.
okay.
Jesus. Yep.
Um, but also and this is something that I love about like your tabletop because I have the disadvantage of being on Discord, and I know a lot of people don't like that,
Right.
but I moved up to New York. All my friends live in Oklahoma. We still want to play, so it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
But
gotta do what you gotta
tabletop
do.
is amazing. I love the idea of having tiny little like they're just pieces. What are they called again? I forget what they're called.
Oh, like the miniatures, like the actual tabletop
Yeah,
pieces or tokens or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Tokens. I didn't know if you
Yeah.
had like a special name for yours, but yeah, having specific tokens for crazy incidents that may happen or may not happen, like that's
Oh,
really
yeah.
creative.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something about like the way that we as humans, I feel like, interact with storytelling But specifically, like when it comes to D&D, when we see a miniature representation of the story that we're going through, or even just the characters that you have, there's something about it that just brings us into it and really like immerses us into it. And that was like, I guess to plug the product, like that was one of our things, specifically me, like one of my things when I was developing the product, which is like I couldn't stand to have all these like nicely painted miniatures on my battle map in front of me, like physically, and then bring in this like brightly colored Lego minifig that just completely changed or like ruined the vibe. Or like I just saw a post on Reddit actually where somebody was like, we didn't have a mini for the dragon, and so they just put like a bottle of beer like
Oh,
in the middle of the table, which like is hilarious. And if that's the kind of game, like 100%, like just do that. But it changes the tone. Like if you had a tone of severity, it kind of shits on that a little bit, right? Where you're just like, oh,
yeah.
like the big scary dragon is just now a Coors Light, and there's not like again, we love levity, right? Like we love levity in a game, love our comic relief characters, but if it's that like moment that you've been building to for 3 to 10 sessions, right? Like the fucking clock tower, right? Like they finally get to the clock
Yeah,
tower and the big bad is waiting for them, and you just had to put down like a bottle of Budweiser as
man.
the BBG, like there's just something about that that pulls you out, and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like,
No,
I've been
absolutely.
playing for long enough. Like it's time we got some. And honestly, like the creature cube minis, the product I'm talking about, like it's such a stupid, simple idea, but it's meant to be. And I know we're on a podcast, so people can't actually see this, but like each of the 6 different sides have a distinct silhouette. So like literally, and the stock that I have is just a black die with like a white print. So the idea is like, yes, it's a D6, but you could put those colors next to any minis on your board and not feel like it's taking you out of the immersion, right? Like there's a beast face because your druids will always summon or transform into some animal that you're not gonna have the mini for. And you could just throw that same beast face on there, and you're like, yeah, so and so, like, yes, the druid turned into a bird. Yes, the druid turned into a wolf, and you could just use the same one each time, but it's not like you're not scrambling for a different one. Like the problem is I
Mhm.
have a couple animals, but I've got like, like a cougar and a wolf and a snake. But if they transform into anything else outside of that, I just have to put down the cougar, the wolf, or the snake and be like, okay, we're gonna have to pretend that they're a spider right now. And inevitably, the same thing happens, which is in 30 minutes or an hour into combat, they forget which creature they are because the wolf is down, but they're not a wolf. They're a spider. And they end up like acting as the wolf. Like they will try to inevitably they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna what is it like get I think it was like keen senses or something like that. Like the wolf has advantage on hearing and smells or something. And we end up running with it. And sometimes, like I'm not a rules lawyer person, but sometimes it is enough to be like, wait, we should have stuck to the specificity of you being a spider because you chose the spider because you needed to like climb up a wall or something like that, right? And it's just enough to stop us and go, oh shit, wait, hold on, we have to redact some things because blah blah blah. And you don't want to stop the game to redact things, so you're just like, no, let's just yes and it, let's keep moving forward. But like I kept running
Mhm.
into those situations at the table because you run into like complicated combat, like shit gets crazy, and I also hated the idea of being like having my imagination and my stories limited by the minis that I owned. Like that just didn't feel good or
No,
right
yeah,
when it came to a game that's literally about imagination and like
dude.
basically like I always tell people it's like like pretend we're on a playground like in grade school and the floor is lava and the jungle gym is a castle, right? And we're like in the you're swinging on monkey bars like they're vines in a jungle. Like that kind of imagination was did not have limitations, and it sucks as adults we try to tap back into that imagination for it to just get gate kept by your like by your miniature budget. That sucks.
Yeah,
Like that's
no, it
not
does.
fun.
No, it absolutely. And I have a question. So, because I
Yeah.
love the idea of these miniatures, two things. I would love to have like a small video that I could post on the walk-in podcast like social medias. So whenever I
For sure.
post, if I'm able to post anything from this episode, I can kind of advertise for you because that way people can
Oh yeah,
actually see it.
appreciate that.
Because I realize something. It's kind of a flaw of the podcast right now. Is a lot of podcasts nowadays they've got the video going. Mine doesn't. I am working on it.
Sure.
Um, just I'm trying
I
to
mean, I
find a
could turn
good.
on a camera right now. I don't
I
look super
don't have
cute, but
one.
like
Oh, me neither. Listen, if I turned on a camera right now, you'd be like, "The Grinch, Christmas is over. What the fuck? Like,
yeah, yeah,
fix your
yeah.
hair, bro."
Like
Come
give
on.
me like 5 minutes to go put contacts in if we're gonna
Right.
turn cameras on. But
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I get you. It is. I mean, I think we're being a little meta for maybe the podcast recording, but 100%, like as far as the podcast medium goes, it is very, very beneficial to have a companion video for those that want to tune in that way.
Oh
Because
yeah.
yeah, for sure. But hey,
Yeah.
we'll get you a camera, Leon, to throw some of that investment towards the camera,
Well,
and then you can
heck yeah.
start double dipping, I guess, or just
Double
having both of
dipping,
that. But
double doing.
yeah,
I know I was
sure.
invited to someone else's podcast the other day. This is more meta, I know. We'll
Yeah.
stop the meta after this, I promise.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
invited to
Okay,
somebody else's
cool. Cut
podcast
and
the
fix
other
and
day.
post.
Fix and post. Nah, leave it in there. Listen, I like the authentic feel of just like just leave it in. Just leave it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there. But no, anyways, I was invited to another podcast. I thought it was really cool. So that's going to be an exciting moment. But he's like
Oh,
saying
yeah.
I have to have a camera. So it will happen
Oh,
soon.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Probably by the time the next episode airs, which will be, I think, episode 27. Don't quote me on that. Anyways,
Sure.
so
Amazing. Well done.
long story short, so I have a question for you with your miniatures because this is something in campaign one. I remember I was
Yeah.
really mad at my party and I wanted to do something really fucked up. So they're exploring some caves. They run into some mimics. They figure out they're mimics before they're mimics. I was really mad about that. They defeated the big
Yeah.
bad really fucking easily. I was really mad about that. They did so much, and so I was like, you know what? The mountain you're traversing in is a no. I'm kidding, but it did stand up. The mountain stood
uh,
up.
it's Titan? Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a whole scene of like everything shaking and then all of a sudden everything's vertical and you're all falling and
Yeah.
it was a great scene. So for something like that where the mountain is now rising and is now a titan, what would your miniatures like how would your miniatures could your miniature solve that, do you think?
I think you are exceeding the limits of an
Wow.
actual miniature when you're now talking about an actual Titan. But also solely for the fact that like the creature cube minis I'm talking about, we did restrict to the player's handbook different sizes. So as of right now,
Okay.
we go as far as large. Uh, in I think end of February is when we're targeting. We're going to launch our Kickstarter for the
Okay.
large creature cubes as well as like different colorways. But I do have on my short list to do a huge set because that's one of the other creature size categories. I'm gonna look it up now. Like, what is a Titan? Like, what is the size for a Titan? Do they even
Oh
have a
man.
stat block for that?
I don't even know if they
Um,
do.
yeah, right. Because because I will say that, like, I feel like at that point, it's the whole battle map, right? Like,
Yeah, pretty much. They're
there's
battling the
no,
entire battle map. At that point, just
yeah, they're
put a set of googly eyes on the mountain and say that's your enemy.
Honestly, I think that's probably your best bet is just whatever terrain you have down, put googly eyes on it. Honestly, I think we need more googly eyes in the world
Honestly,
overall.
I think we do.
Yeah.
I think we do.
I've been honestly, there's a lot of like tech that's not super cute to look at. It's just like big black boxes of stuff that sit everywhere. And I'm like, I kind of just want to put a googly eye on this.
No,
How
yeah,
about you?
absolutely. So going back to your product and how it works and my ability to over exaggerate its limitations. So what is like a goal? Like what is your dream goal? Because I'm assuming this is your dream, is the miniatures, or is there anything else like voice acting or anything else, or is this your
Yeah,
go-to?
I think it's one of them. That's for sure. I'm one of those really annoying people who, as most other millennials do have ADD. And so I'm all over the place all the time. There's so many different things that I want to do. I think if we're being specific about the Creature Cube minis, just as a standalone product, my dream for that has always been to just lower the barrier of entry for people to enter like the D&D hobby. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know when I got into it, we started with Elmop with Lost Mines of Fandelver, right? And I was the one as one of the more type A people in my circles who I was like, okay, I'll DM this. Um, but the minis was a genuinely one of the more like stressful parts of thinking about starting to play D&D, because you start going through the adventure and stuff, and it's like, oh, like there's all of these creatures. There's goblins, there's drow, like not to get into too many spoilers, but there's a bunch of random stuff, and it's not a ton, but it's just enough where you're like, shit, I need like 10 different types of minis for this baseline like newbie campaign. And typically like I see D&D as a very like budget hobby, because truly at the core of it, you need a pencil, you need paper, and like a d20. I don't even really believe you need the rest of like the polyhedral set to play. Recommended, sure, but not necessary, right? You just need the d20 for the chance, and you can do everything else from there. um but when you add all these other things, specifically the minis, it's exponentially more expensive. Minis, I think the last time I checked, are averaging, at least for decent ones, like $1.50, maybe a dollar like each. You can get them in packs, and when you get them in packs, they're maybe closer to, I don't know, like 60 cents each, 50 cents each, but 50 cents each. But I also noticed in a lot of those bulk ones that like the print quality is really low. So like you'll get these little gray guys, but there's like huge seams on them. So if you wanted to paint them, like you gotta trim all that off or whatever, or like build around it, which isn't fun, right? If you're here's the thing, I like painting minis too. I don't have time to paint 20 villagers just to fill out like our one scene in town. Like that sucks. I'm not trying to do that. So yeah, like I think my dream just for creature cubes alone is to just make it so D&D feels more accessible for people who are new to the hobby. Um and then like second to that, we'll say for us more, I guess I'll call us more veteran DMs and players, just having it so you feel like you have like a valuable tool in your kit. So like
Mhm.
I DM away from home more than I do at home. And I'm not bringing all my fucking minis with me in the car when I'm traveling. Like that's not fun. I've had enough minis that I traveled with that broke during travel, and that sucks, especially if I took the time to paint them. Um, Depending on the break, they're not too difficult to repair, but that's more time. I'm a grown ass man with a 9 to 5. Like I'm
Mhm.
tired all the time. If I have time to paint a mini, it's a good weekend. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, like it's not fun to travel with them, and just even the animal example, like you're never gonna have all of them. So like for us veteran players, it's my dream is to share the joy that I've had with them, which is that I feel like I can run pretty much any D&D encounter, like combat encounter on the fly, and not have to worry about what's in my kit.
No,
I
exactly. 'Cause
Yeah,
that helps. Sorry, I
yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, you're good. I was starting to say like I've been play testing them at a local game store, and with people of like varying levels of D&D experience. And the last time we ran it, Um, it was 4 people, all strangers. 2 of them had never played D&D before, but were interested, and the other 2 had different experience. One had played only 3.5, I think, or Pathfinder, and the other one, like you, had like done a whole homebrewed world or whatever, right? So like fair, we'll say like very experienced in that regard. Um, but, like, we sat down, and the only prompt I gave them was, like, "Just give me a place." So we're just gonna run a combat encounter for this one shot, and someone said McDonald's, so I was like, "Okay, cool, do legally distinct McDonald's," so I think we said McGonald's instead. And I rolled for the encounter with the Creature Cube minis, and came up with like on the fly that they were going to deal with what was it, a McDonald's employee who was actually a vampire, who had gotten into McDonald's earlier and turned all of the staff into their thralls. So when the party came in, he locked the door behind them and had basically intended to also turn them and like make them the McDonald's meal. But there was no prep time. It felt like a game of improv because they sat down. I explained how D&D worked. I also made some like cheat sheet resources too. We could talk about it later. It was really good for new players, but like the newbies just we just ran with it. By the end of it, like one of the newbies was like, "Can I play a druid?" Because he picked the beast face on the creature cube minis. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And by the end of it, they didn't know any of the spells, and I was like, "If you feel like You should be able to cast a spell. Just tell me and we'll figure it out. And by the end of the encounter, the newbie, fresh D&D player who was playing a druid had, uh, I guess, accidentally stumbled into like a summon animal spell. I don't remember what the real name is, but like he summoned two wolves. He cast daylight, cast entangling roots, and I think like one other spell. Oh, fairy fire. When the vampire guy like went invisible, but like all just from his imagination. And the only minis I was using were my little D6 creature cube minis, and never during the whole time did anyone stop to go, "What's that mini again? Who is that again? Can I do this? Oh, we can summon that. Oh, those beast face are the wolves I summoned. Great." And we just like yes anded it in like I think like 45 to 60 minutes. And by the end of it, like, they won, blah, blah, blah. They got out of the McDonald's. Like, by the end of it, they had a good enough time where I know the four of those strangers were regulars at the game store. I know if they run into each other again, they're going to have that, like, joy of their inside jokes from their D&D game anytime they see each other. I won't remember them. That was like one of a bajillion one shots I've run. But for them and their first experience, like being able to share in that joy of joint storytelling just at random and on the fly was something that would not have been possible without the creature cube minis, and like that joy for other DMs to be able to just run that kind of shit for strangers, for interested family, or even for like their regular groups who just want to go fucking off the rails and ignore clock tower for 13 sessions. Like for you to be able to just roll up encounters in the wild because they decided to take a weird left turn somewhere and not go hide in the bathroom for 30 minutes while you calculate it out on Kobold Fight Club, like that's one of the big goals that I've got for this, is just to like keep like focus on your story. Don't worry about the encounter and like the minutia of things. Just get in there and keep going. Keep yes anding.
Oh yeah, I think that's a good quote for life too. Just keep yes anding. But
Keep yes
yeah.
anding. Yeah, for real.
So so yeah, is that's and going into it as well with your like your dream of the miniatures and being able to like inspire new people into the hobby. And I think it's a great idea with the miniatures. I've played a little bit of D&D. I tried I was in a little bit of a session. There was like a, in-person session before I moved out of Oklahoma, and not having miniatures that made sense, it kind of sucked. We had
Yeah.
like I want to say we had like little soldier guys from like an old World War II play kit,
Yeah.
like the ones from
Like
Toy
the
Story.
Green Army Men.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
Somebody
a
always
lot
has those
better.
for some reason. It's so funny.
Yeah, but it makes a lot more sense if you can swap them out for like your miniatures. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, Outside of that, are there any like dreams or goals or aspirations? Like you mentioned how you have a lot of things going on in your head. I can say
Hmm.
me. I know I'm not a millennial, but for me, um, I have ADHD. I
Hmm.
have I write books. I go to open mic nights for comedy night. I do,
Very
the
cool.
podcast. I do voice acting, all kinds of stuff. And even with my own branding with the Walk-In podcast, I ordered like 3,000 business cards, like a dozen or so bumper stickers, and I mailed them out across the U.S. Um, I had a friend in Cali, New Mexico, Canada, Oklahoma, Texas, a friend in West Virginia whose dad is down in Florida, so he got one. Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and of course New York. So a lot of different places. Oh, and England and Canada. I forgot. I also mailed some out over there as well.
Very wide
Um,
reach.
yeah. And so whenever you say your brain is ADHD and it's always somewhere, man, let me tell you, I feel you because that my brain is always like, oh, I wonder how I can make this work. How can I make that work? How can I maneuver this or upgrade that? So is there anything that, because obviously, like with me, the podcast is taking priority. The podcast is the number one thing that's doing the best and it's having the biggest impact. So for you, that's your miniatures, I'm assuming. But is there anything that's like you feel might be on the back burner that is also a dream of yours, something that you're motivated to do as well?
Yeah, I think very similar to you. There's a lot of different things I have like general interest in, and it really is just a matter of what's getting the spotlight and the primary attention right now. So yeah, like you said, for sure, Creature Cube Minis is the main one right now. I think second to that is the brand at large, which is Paragon Provisions. Um, I've been releasing one shots and D&D 5e resources. Like I mentioned earlier, I made these what is it, like new player combat cheat sheets. Basically, like if you've ever played any other box games or like more complicated or advanced tabletop board games like Settlers of Catan or Catan, however the hell you pronounce it, like they have turn cards to let new players know what they can do on their turn and like the general flow of the game. And I didn't like that D&D 5e didn't have that. I thought it was kind of weird. Which I mean, I get, right? There's big resources or whatever, but I was like, but what about for the newbies? And we were talking about lowering the barrier of entry. So I made a cheat sheet for it that had all of that, as well as like a quick reference guide for player character sheets. But like, I think it was kind of alluding to it earlier. Is my whole goal is to lower the barrier of entry for tabletop role playing games. But the end goal of that is really just to get more people telling their authentic stories. I'm a big believer in, we'll just call it like the human experience. We'll get a little like woo woo spiritual here for a second, maybe, or maybe a little bit into like, our biology or psyche as humans. But like, I one of the joys of D&D in general is the idea that we get to tell our own stories and participate in them. And, way, way back, or, in our original human form, whatever that might have looked like, telling stories around a campfire is something that we always have bonded over. And so D&D to me is a way of us being able to tap back into that, as well as, especially for us adults, as well as a way for us adults to tap back into the childlike imagination that we once had. I have my 9 to 5. It's very high stress. It has me thinking critically and very analytically, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week at minimum. And being able to shift gears and come into the world of make believe has been so good for my mental health. And I know has been so good for the mental health of like a lot of my players and just, I mean, just everybody in general who's just been in D&D to provide a good and healthy place for escapism. Like, I could not shut up about the benefits of being able to do that. So it's one of those things where I think about, um, when I think about my net positive impact on the world, how can when we talk about like, I'm a little bit of a camper, right? Leave no trace. You take that a step further and it's leave it better than when you left it. And that same kind of mentality seeps into my, we'll say, overall existence as a human for the amount of time that I'm here. How can I leave this world better than I left it? And one of those things to me is helping people tap back into stuff that brings them joy, tap back into their imagination, get back into telling stories together. And I mean, you said you're not a millennial, so I'm going to make the assumption you're younger than that. Um, which means maybe you haven't known an existence without a smartphone. The way that technology has permeated every facet of our lives in, the year of our Lord 2026 these days, it's nauseating sometimes. I'm a millennial, right? So I lived both sides, right? We'll say pre-internet, post-internet. Um, it is concerning to me a lot of the times how dependent we've all become on technology and just doing everything virtually. And there's something about D&D, you were kind of talking about it earlier, of being able to be at the same table physically together and trade that energy and be in that moment together. And, whether it be in reality or in a make-believe world, there's an intimate bonding experience that happens when we're able to do that and
Hmm.
do it authentically too, that I feel like is so, so important for us to not forget about. I think the pandemic was a great example of that when, classrooms throughout the country or throughout the world were having to do classes virtually for grade school kids. And the way that that was so terrible for a lot of their mental and emotional health
Hmm.
and development. It it's I don't know. I feel like it's very indicative of why we need to be together physically and have communities, even if they are just, I mean, not even if, micro communities are so important, right? Over macro communities. When we talk about like our followings and our reach as small creatives, and as some of us are like just getting into the space, starting to build followings. I had this conversation with somebody else recently too, where we had talked about how some people are not satisfied with their followings and they are solely focused on the number, right? Oh, I'm at, 1,000, but I'm not going to be satisfied till I get to 10K, or I'm at 10K. I'm not going to be like, I need the 100,000. I need the million followers, right? To feel good about it.
Yeah.
And the thing we were talking about was it is very much so okay to be wherever you're at, because at least for now, that is your intentional community. That is your core group. You talk about doing a bunch of these things for if I could read between the lines here a little bit, between what you're doing and why, and the creatives that you're helping support. These are mostly, at least seemingly mostly, people who are making art for the sake of making art or for the love of making art. And there's something very, very important, I think, about making sure we don't lose that in an age where studios are more concerned with what is profitable and greenlighting media or shows or series based off of what they know is going to make profit. I think that that's fine, and I totally understand where they're coming from, right? Because there's a lot of money that's going into that, but I think that there's room for both to exist. That there has to be room for both to exist, and these smaller creators with smaller followings are still playing a very important and I think like essential role in their respective communities. Like if you have, if you're a musical artist and you have 5,000 followers, but they're 5,000 organic followers who intentionally hit that follow button because they really fucked with your shit and really like vibed with the vibe that you were putting out. That's really important. And also, imagine if you had all those followers and you were performing for all of them live. That is a massive amount of
Oh
people,
yeah.
like if you really think about it, right? So like
That's a big audience.
it's a really big audience. At the time of filming this, I think just breached 600 followers, and I haven't been very intentional, I'll be honest, with really caring about my hashtags or my SEO or or my keywords, because as a little bit of a test, um, I just wanted to see what it would be like to just be very organic and authentic with what I was
Oh,
putting out.
oh yeah.
And
And
um
it
and
goes
there
back to
it's been great.
your sorry.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I love everything you said. Like it goes back to the campfire analogy. Like it's all authentic and human, and I agree. It's that human experience as well because my one of my loves is theater. I was contracted. I won't say who I was contracted with, but I was contracted
Sure, sure.
through a company based in Oklahoma City while I lived down there, and it was a film industry. They started during COVID. They started moving everything like you're doing auditions online, stuff like that. It's a completely different feel when everything
Oh
is
yeah.
digital
Self
rather than
tapes.
in person. And yeah, and it's like there's something magical about being messy and
Yeah.
human, and the
Yeah.
digital world goes against that. The digital world demands
Yeah.
perfection. But whenever you're there in person, when you're there with the D&D group, when you're there at the theater, there's that messiness that makes us human,
Yeah.
and it's
Absolutely.
gorgeous. Yeah.
It
It's
is. It really is, because the imperfections are what is very human about us, right? Like the polished Instagram posts, like there's a space for it and there's a time and a place, and we get it and it's a portfolio. But remembering, and like we know this objectively, but I think the longer we spend doom scrolling on our phones, we will in our subconscious tend to forget that the imperfections are okay, and in fact very much so are what make us human and relatable to each other, because you get to a point of like, A-list celebrity perceived perfection where you're no longer really like perceived as human anymore. And I think it shows in the weird comments that I'll be honest that men will tend to make of people, where they just demand this level of like, oh well, I don't think that she should blah blah blah, or like I don't think that he should, or what happened to their this or that, right? And it's that
It's very
removal of
judgmental.
very judgmental, right? But I think it has a lot to do with the way that they just expect this like more human than human like person to be, but they're not a person anymore. They are like a brand, right? That
Mm.
once they hit that like level of fame. But like I don't know if you've had the opportunity to attend what's the show called? I just went to 20 Sided Tavern in Los Angeles.
Mm.
Which is like a live D&D show. I was fortunate enough where the night that I went, they had two of my favorites in the TTRPG side scene. Abria Iyengar and Erika Ishii were performing, and the performance was great. Right, the whole thing was an improv show. It's fucking D&D. Like it's it's an improv show. Um, but like with the improv show came all of the imperfections. And outside of the typical meaning, like the show was perfect. The show was fantastic. I've never been in a room or a theater where I've seen so many people have explosive reactions to D20 rolls. Like, what a weird vibe and what a wonderful world that we live in where we get to do that these days. Like, the idea that Dimension 20 is selling out Madison Square Garden to play D&D, and it's just, it blows my mind. It's so cool. But, part of the show was the imperfections, and like D&D is so polarizing in that, like, we play on the failures, and in fact the failures make the story. So relating back to humans
Oh
and
man.
stories, like they feel very very like they go hand in hand, right? They have to, you gotta fail uh to bring in the stakes. And if you don't fail, or if you as a human don't have those imperfections, it's that like uncanny valley thing, right, where you're like, you're no longer human anymore. Or are you human? I don't know, like
Yep.
you're too perfect.
That's the thing about, and whenever I sit down with people who tell me that they have this dream of being a writer or being an actor or whatever, and they're like, well, I just don't know how I can do it. I don't know how I
Mm,
can, go out there, and because we see these supermodels on billboards, and these people who live these perfect lifestyles, and they go to the gym and they eat
mhm.
all this perfect food and they da 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 da. Dude, that's all like edited. It's all
Yeah.
perfect for a reason because it's
Yeah,
not
very
human.
manicured,
It's very
very
manicured.
manicured.
And
It's
they're
editorial.
yeah, the thing is, life is beautiful because of its failures. And I love what you said. Put that
Yeah.
shit on a fucking t-shirt. That shit was gorgeous. Because
Yeah.
life is beautiful because of its failures. And it's the idea of kintsugi. I talked about it in our last episode.
Mm.
It's like kintsugi, the Japanese belief that it's the cracks in the broken pot that give it a story that make it beautiful. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
God, those things are
And
so gorgeous.
yeah. Whenever a pot breaks, they repair it and they put gold in the seams of the cracks because they believe that the cracks
Mhm.
tell a story and the story is what makes it more valuable. That
Yeah.
is us as humans.
Yeah.
We are beautiful because of our flaws, not in spite of them. We're
Yeah,
beautiful with them,
absolutely.
and it's whenever we don't want to personify them. We don't want to make them our whole identity. We don't want to make it our brand. But when we say, okay, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna put my first best step forward. Like for instance, I hate AI. I had a
Yep,
whole
same.
September special where we we divulged for 3 or 4 hours worth of footage of just AI. But
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah, we're recording,
talked
right?
about.
Fuck AI.
Fuck AI. But
Yeah.
it's been commented before that yes, the logo that I'm using right now is AI. I've contacted so many people trying to get rid of it, trying to pay someone to create it. I have a friend named Kit Kat who is drawing up, painting a actual painting, a canvas for our
Mhm.
logo. Um, but whenever I first started the podcast, I was literally like, I don't want this to be the one thing that keeps me from starting. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
made a cheap AI art. I fucking regret it, but also I'm
Yeah.
glad that I was able to take that first step. It's imperfect because it's human. You know what I mean? And that's what makes it
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm not going to sit here and go, "Oh, well, I had to," or "Oh, you know what?" No, it was a bullshit thing that I did. I'm not happy about
Mhm.
it, but I'm glad the podcast is here. I'm glad
Yeah.
that I'm able to talk to creative people like you who have these amazing dreams. That's not just, it's not, your dream isn't greedy. It's not stingy. You're not doing
Right.
this for you. You have this idea of like, you want to open other people up, not just to the game, not just to D&D or DMing or making it easier or more convenient on road trips. Your idea is, hey, let's get people dreaming again. Let's get them imagining again.
Yeah.
We all have our 9 to 5s. We all have school and work and life and a mess and chaos. And there's so much noise in the world. And to shut it off for an hour a
Yep.
day and sit at a table and play a dumb game of D&D and have a little bit
Yeah.
of fun. Roll some
Wait,
die,
did you say an
come up with
hour?
some. Hey, hey, listen, sometimes it's a short session, okay?
It's a very efficient party.
Yeah, or a very angry DM that's like, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh
Um,
shoot. Yeah, you took a left turn we were not supposed to take.
yeah.
Well, that's it, guys.
I didn't
We'll
write
see you
anything for
next
that,
week.
so pause. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
No,
it's
100% though. Like there were moments at the infancy of my brand too where I was also admittedly using AI, but this was also before I had understood the ethical and environmental net negative impact of it as
dude,
well.
the water
And
usage
like
is insane. You
I
you generate an
am
image on
fully
AI, isn't it
disgusted.
like 50,000 fucking gallons of water or
Yeah.
something like that? Oh
It,
my.
I think Google has a thing where they're saying like a prompt is like 5 droplets of water. What does annoy me a little bit is that they are saying that I think the wording is a little uh miss what's the word I'm looking for? It's not fully honest.
It's
The wording
fabricated.
says something about it uses, truly finding out that it doesn't use water. It destroys
It
water
destroys it.
beyond repair, beyond recycling, and that's
Yeah.
kind of a fucking problem.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
as
like,
soon
oh
as I
hey,
realized that, I was like, yeah, I can't even because I had played with using it for some of the calculations for like some of the more number crunchy things when I was messing with some draft one shots for like monsters. I
mhm,
was like, oh, I need to like make it harder or find a way to like tier scale it down. And the
mhm.
funny thing was because I am a bit of a techie, part of it was also my understanding that AI is becoming a little bit of an inevitable and unavoidable thing. So I wanted to make sure that I was up on this to make sure that I wasn't falling behind in the tech world, as you will if you blink for 6 fucking months. Um,
What I can
but
say
yeah,
from
yeah,
what I've read is some of the companies are noticing the trend of people not using AI because they're using purified water and
yep.
drinking water, and they're trying to use like either like fucking sewer water or okay, cool. Or they're trying to use non-water like shit that will still keep their stuff cool. Whatever. If they can find cool ways to do it, awesome. But all I
Yeah.
all I can say is I don't want to fuck with it. Like,
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, so two things about AI is one, when I was messing with it to experiment and make sure I understood what was going on, it wasn't accurate. The amount of times that LLMs or local language models were spitting out bad data was bonkers to me. I wasted more time trying to get the AI bots to give me the output that I wanted versus just to and I would do things like time this and I would run personal experience. I would go experiments where I would go, okay, I'm going to try to work with this AI bot for X amount of time and let me judge, like, let me see the quality of output that I get. And then I'm going to take the same amount of time without the AI bot and just do it myself, manually with my imagination, my brain power, whatever, even if it's like separate online research or what have you. And it it honestly, the output from AI became so bad, I just needed to completely disregard it because
oh
as
yeah.
as the prompts kept going and going, the inaccuracies would pile up. There was actually a great example that I ran into on my feed or that a friend reshared of a guy asking Chat GPT how many T's, the letter T's, like tango,
Mm,
were in the word committee. And Chat GPT kept saying there were 3 T's in the word committee.
dude.
And he was going back and forth with Chat GPT, like, where are the T's? What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Spell it out for me. And it kept persisting.
I saw
There are
one for the
three
word
T's.
strawberry, bro. I saw one that was like
Yeah.
strawberry. It's like two R. Like, how many R's are in strawberry? Oh, there's two R's in strawberry. He's like, no, spell strawberry out. And
Yeah.
there's, he does it with the three. And then he's like, well, what would you say if I said that I spell strawberry with three R's? And then ChatGPT was like, that's a very creative way to spell that word. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's how you fucking
Yeah.
spell it. What?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and that's
The
the thing
AI's
too, is like,
job is to come up with quick answers, not really efficient
right, not
or
accurate
efficient answers, not
answers
accurate. Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Right. So I think once I truly realized that, and like my personal testing with it, I went, outside of, I know this was before I understand the like net negative ethical and environmental impact. I was like, I can't use this tool for really anything. And I'm sorry,
Mhm.
D&Ders, this might be a hot take, but also if you disagree with me, fucking get in my DMs or comment on my shit because I will gladly have this fight with you. AI does not have a place in the D&D world. It just doesn't, and it shouldn't. D&D is for creative writing. And also, just as a word of encouragement to anyone listening, your story doesn't need to be an untold story that nobody has ever heard about. You can 100% just put your world in a known universe, in a known universe, and repeat a story that has already been done. Because I guarantee you, your players will make different decisions and you will
Mhm.
wind up with a unique story of your own. You don't need to be special. It is okay not to be special
Oh
in
yeah.
your storytelling. It's fine. I wrote one shots so you can if I wrote one shots and I didn't want anybody else to experience them, I wouldn't have released them to the public for free. No. Steal my one shots, run the same fucking story and have fun with it because every person who has gotten back to me who told me stories from their table from my one shots I released have told me different outcomes every single time. So you're gonna get it's totally fine. And as far as like the other thing that D&Ders keep doing is they keep using AI for generative like art making. Don't do that shit either. Just make a shitty sketch. If you can't draw, that's fine. Do a stick figure, whatever. Or get multiple pictures that represent different facets of your character and make like a vision board for your character to be like, I like this nose from this dragonborn, and then this cape from this gnome, and the feet
Mhm.
from this chocobo from Final Fantasy. Who
And
cares? But like cobble that shit together, and that's your character because it lives in your imagination and only in your universe in front of you.
yep.
Like it's
Mhm.
totally fine. It's
Yeah,
totally fine.
and listen, I guess I literally my first D&D campaign, I Googled there's websites out there beyond just D&D and Beyond and all Roll20 and all those. There's websites out there where people post battle maps for other people to use. They
Oh
post
yeah,
character profile like
for
pictures that you can
free.
use for free. Yeah. So my suggestion to anybody out there, like if you've always wanted to try out D&D, if you've always wanted to just give it a shot, you've always been curious about it, or maybe you think it's weird but worth a look, literally just look up on Google your closest spot, your closest D&D game public area, and just go hang out with some of the people that are playing. I mean, even if
Yeah.
you just sit there and listen in on their game, I'm sure they'd love to have you there.
Oh yeah.
Bring some friends, have a good time. It's a great place. Like I think we need more authentic in-person meetups.
Yes,
It's
100% we
been
do.
a long time since the pandemic, and it's time for us to really start connecting again as much as possible.
Yeah, we're still
It's
healing
the
from that. I'm
We're
still
still
healing from
healing.
that.
No, for sure. And I think that a lot of there's a lot of economic damage and there's a lot of job damage, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a long time coming for repair. But the
Yeah.
social companionship, I think that we can slowly start like repairing and healing. And I think part of it is
Yeah.
doing things authentically, being messy, being human.
Yeah.
Even if it's not
Absolutely.
D&D that you're into, even if it's, oh, you've always wanted to do an open mic night, or you've always wanted to write a book, or you've always wanted to paint, or whatever. You don't have to be Picasso. It's something that, and I quote him all the time, Larimore, one of my first guests ever on this show, who he said, you don't have to paint every single day to be an artist. And that's the truth of it. You don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect. You don't have to do it every single day. But put yourself out there. Start with step one and just see how
Yeah,
you
it's
feel.
true. Remember
Yeah.
that your first shit is not always your best shit,
No, it's
and
always
that
messy.
is totally fine. It's gonna
Yep.
be messy, and you're gonna have to iterate. Like this, my my brand shit, go check out my TikTok, not as a plug, but to see how fucking messy my first videos
We'll
were.
plug
They
you in
were
the description. Don't
full
worry.
ass.
I will
Yeah, yeah,
plug.
but they were, if you're listening to this, my first videos were full ass, right? Even my latest videos, full ass. But I'm not
Mine too.
concerned about the quality of it. I'm more concerned about the message coming across in an authentic way. And
You're
that
saying that you're human.
is happening. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the right, we're cobbling this shit together, we're kitsugiing this stuff. And like for D&D art also, you've probably heard it in your feeds before if you have TTRPG shit, steal art like a normal person. Like the rest of us. Go to Pinterest, Google what your character could be, find an approximate and jack that shit like we all would.
Mm-hmm.
But like also I know we're all at different budgets, but here's the thing too, because I gotta encourage analog skills. You can learn to draw. I'm sorry. It doesn't need to be great, but like I'm not somebody that's good at drawing at all. It has taken me making really, really shitty looking battle maps on a dry erase board for years for my skills to go up even, like a minuscule amount. I'm still not good at it, but over 5 to 10 years of not being very intentional with my drawing skills, I have started to understand how light and shading works a little bit more. So I guess pro tip, if you are wanting to up your drawing skills, pay attention to light and shading and start with basic shapes. But truly, like you can do it. The amount of time that you spend woefully messing with Chat GPT or poring over pre-existing art, you can spend that same amount of time honing a skill and getting better at something that you're interested in. Like this is not the point of the podcast, but fuck it. Like
No, the
like
point of the
or my
podcast is
brand or
no.
whatever.
No, you're trying to inspire my viewers. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
all. That is the point of the podcast. I
Yeah,
love it.
go get
And
that
honestly,
shit.
I
Like,
think motivating your audience as well. People who want like they're gonna listen to this and they're gonna go, man, this guy's incredible. I want to support him. And then they're gonna look in the description. They're gonna see your TikTok, their link tree if you have a link tree, and they're gonna go. Hopefully, they go and they buy your product, man. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. I'm in a few D&D groups. I'm absolutely gonna be sharing it with them as well. And
no, I appreciate
dude, it
that.
was it was an honor to speak with you. Like, is there and before we head out of this episode, I feel like we can do a million more hours of this in another episode. We probably will, if you'd like to. I'd
Yeah.
love to sit down again. We can talk AI. Listen, we
Yeah,
can do a
oh
whole
my God. Yeah, we could do just a full episode talking shit about AI. Listen,
dude.
I'm
Go
happy to do
back,
that.
go back and listen to the September special. It's not the highest
Okay.
quality. It's back when my mic quality was ass, and sometimes it still is now. You're good. Me, my friend Zach, and my friend Dylan. We all three of us sat down and we just talked AI. So man, if you want to
Yeah.
go back and listen to those, you might enjoy it. You might not. We
Hell
we
yeah.
were basically wearing tinfoil hats the whole time, so just be ready for that. Um, but is there anything you want to say to anybody out there that might be listening, might be wanting to start on D&D or even chase their dreams, start a brand like you did, anything like that?
Um, I mean, Nike already has a slogan. I was literally just gonna say, just do it. But like truly, just start, I think is the big thing. Just get started. Even if you're not ready to put your shit out there yet, because here's the thing. I am an unwilling participant in social media. I'm not comfortable having my face on Instagram and TikTok and running hashtags. And like the thought of going viral truly makes me uncomfortable. I don't really want millions of people seeing my fucking
Yeah,
face
me
and my
too.
hair all messed up. Like that shit freaks me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But the fact of the matter is, I'm an unwilling participant because I know that I have to do it for my brand. Like that's just it is what it is. But if there's something holding you back, like truly, first of all, surround yourself with people who will encourage you. They don't need to be yes people. In fact, they shouldn't be yes people. In fact,
No.
find people who will tell you, please don't release that just yet. I think you
Mm-hmm.
could refine this a little bit more.
Yep.
But just get started because even if you're doing that shit in the quiet of your home, of your room, of your apartment, of your house, what the fuck ever, at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, in between shifts, you are making progress. Chris talked about it earlier 1%, 1% more. It's incremental progress, but you are making progress. And the fact of the matter is you are making progress towards something that solely, you're making progress towards something that is solely for you and only you. And if you, we didn't have this conversation, but I had this conversation with somebody else. If you continue to create things for the joy of creating them, whether or not you intend on sharing them doesn't matter. But if you just do it for the love of doing it, maybe, you will find community around that. And even if you don't find community around that, you will find personal joy and satisfaction around that. Like, I think honestly, that's the most important thing. I got fortunate enough that D&D checked enough of my weird extroverted boxes where this is something that I'm focusing on right now. And it just so happens to have to be a little public facing. But I had so many other things before this, before I went public with Paragon Provisions, before I went public with Creature Cubes, a concept I sat on for 5 fucking years that they will never see the light of day. There are sketches, there are stories, there are journals, and those are for me. But all of that was also the groundwork that I needed to get into the other hobbies that I do go public with. That, like, all of that experience helped me be more well-rounded for Paragon Provisions and for creating a product. I have stock now. I learned how to do shipping because I had to, and because I had a friend in New York who helped me with it. Like, it's been an amazing journey. Just get fucking started, build your foundation, and do it because you love it. Just do it because you love it.
That's a good note to leave on. And I appreciate you for coming in today. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to come back and talk shit about AI.
Heck yeah. All right.
Hey there, this is friend of the show, Anthony Ziello, and I just wanted to say thanks for stepping into the walk-in today. If this episode spoke to you, go ahead and follow the show, and catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find the walk-in on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen. And if you want to hang with our community, come join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. A huge shout out to the Podmatch community for having us with them. Their support for Dreamers is unmatched. Until next time, take a breath, stay inspired, and as always, we'll walk together again next week.